Tashdile, this is Sakina Bhatt and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines. His Holiness the Dalai Lama assures public of his good health. His Holiness the Dalai Lama congratulates Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on election victory. Representative Ngodup Tsering attends C3 Summit 2021. Tibet Bureau Geneva testifies on human rights in Tibet. European Parliament expresses concern over labour programs in Tibet. Delegation of India-Tibet Coordination Office and Tibet support groups pay courtesy call on Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister. Speaking on the importance of keeping peace of mind for physical well-being, His Holiness the Dalai Lama assured the public of his good health on Wednesday this week.
Just this morning, I checked by Tibetan doctor as well as modern doctor. They find my physical condition very good. So I believe not only just medicine, but my way of thinking, always peace. And on the basis, we all, bigger level, entire sentient being. And smaller level, we on this planet, we all same. So peace of mind really immense help to create healthy body.
His Holiness was speaking to a group of students, faculty and some guests of Monmouth University on the interconnectedness of happiness, health, well-being and the future of Earth. During the talk, His Holiness emphasized on achieving genuine peace in a demilitarized world and said we should simply say enough to manufacturing and selling of weapons.
We human beings, 1,000 years, we human beings created weapon. But sometimes we call that weapon for peace. But actually, the very sort of work, responsibility of a weapon is kill. So therefore, in the past human history, without a weapon, I think world can be more peaceful.
On the election victory of the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's party, His Holiness the Dalai Lama congratulated Prime Minister Trudeau and expressed his appreciation for leading Canada in the face of challenges posed by the pandemic and in implementing policy of compassionate action, welcoming vulnerable people from troubled parts of the world on humanitarian grounds. The Canadian Prime Minister's Liberal Party won Canada's national elections on Tuesday this week. Office of Tibet Representative Ngodup Tsering attended the C3 Summit 2021 that saw discussions on the current state of pandemic and global healthcare at the Union League Club in New York on Monday this week. Representative Ngodup Tsering was invited by Dame Muni, CEO and founder of Art for Peace. In the summit, he met with many diplomats and global healthcare leaders, including Gloria Kins, UN Special Envoy. Office of Tibet, Washington, D.C. Secretary Tashi Dhundup attended the first ever Vajrayan Mulim held in the U.S. last Saturday. The Mulim is believed to be the first of its kind, designed to include 4 Vajrayana communities of Kagyu, Nima, Sakya and Gelug, as well as Theravada and Mahayana traditions. Due to COVID guidelines, the event was attended by just a few special guests and ordained participants, while around 30,000 people joined the press ceremony online. The Tibet Bureau in Geneva testified on the human rights situation in Tibet before the Swiss parliamentarians at the ongoing autumn session of the parliament on Monday this week. On behalf of the Tibetan people, UN Advocacy Officer of Tibet Bureau Geneva, Kalden Tsomo, highlighted the systematic violations of the fundamental rights of Tibetans under the Chinese leadership since China's brutal occupation of Tibet in 1959. The Parliamentary Group on Human Rights, in cooperation with the Parliamentary Group for Tibet, Switzerland-China Friendship Parliamentarian Group and Parliamentary Group Solidarity International, hosted the hearing titled Coherent Implementation of the Swiss-China Strategy, the Role of Parliament in Strengthening Human Rights, where speakers from different fields contributed to the discussion. Kalden Tsomo also called on the United Nations to assess China's top-down developmental policies and its impact on the Tibetan Plateau at the ongoing 48th session of the UN Human Rights Council. Noting China's efforts within the UN system in downplaying the universality of human rights and state-led destruction in the name of development, Kalden Tsomo urged the rapporteur and the Council to assess the environmental impact of development in Tibet.
The rapporteur and the Council's attention on China's top-down developmental policies and its impact on the Tibetan Plateau is long overdue. Under the guise of poverty alleviation and development, Tibetans' rights have been systematically violated by China. Over 2 million Tibetan nomads have been removed from nomadic grasslands. A prominent Tibetan environmentalist, Karma Santo, is currently serving 15 years of imprisonment under trump-up charges. The land rights defender Anyat Senta is jailed for 7 years for defending the rights of Tibetan nomads. China's continued crackdown on rights defenders and environmentalists is concerning. In short, China has brought more destruction than development. If this council continues to let China downplay human rights and emphasize state-led development, the fundamental values and the credibility of this council is at stake. Therefore, we urge the reporter and the council to assess the environmental impact of development in Tibet Autonomous Region and adjacent areas. Thank you.
The 48th UN Human Rights Council session commenced on 13th September and will conclude on 8th October 2021. The European Parliament in Strasbourg expressed grave concern over reports of ongoing labor programs in Tibet and called for free access to Tibetan areas for diplomats and journalists on Thursday last week. The report on EU-China strategy adopted by the European Parliament criticizes and calls on the Commission to express its concern over China's Order No. 15, which requires that clergies, including Buddhist leaders and Catholic leaders, to support CCP leadership, and calls on leaders of the EU and its member states to decline invitations to the Beijing Winter Olympics in 2022 unless the human rights situation in China and Hong Kong does not improve. Member of European Parliament Hilde Vautmans strongly condemned actions of European countries making ties with China for economic benefits and turning blind eye to China's ambitious political agenda and increasingly assertive foreign policy.
China is indeed a very interesting trading partner, and it's great for European business that many Chinese are now able to afford German cars, French wines, Nathalie, and Italian fashion. But economic gains should not make us blind to challenges the Chinese Communist Party is posing to the liberal world order.
A team of a delegation led by the coordinator of India-Tibet Coordination Office Delhi, Mr. Jigme Tsultrim, paid a visit to Honorable Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Shri Pema Khandu, at his residence in Tawang on Monday this week. Mr. Jigme Tsultrim, head of the delegation, briefed the Chief Minister Khandu on the forthcoming visit of Sikyong Pemba Tsering to the northeast, including Arunachal Pradesh, to which Chief Minister Khandu has assured to extend all assistance needed in facilitating the visitation and further programs. The delegation team was comprised of Mr. Jigme Tsultrim, Coordinator, India-Tibet Coordination Office Delhi, Shri Somyadeep Datta, Regional Convener, Core Group for Tibetan Cause India, Shri Wangdi Dorji Krime, President Bharat Tibet Sahyog Manch, Arunachal Pradesh, Shri Ngodup Chosang, President Bharat Tibet Sahyog Manch, Tawang District, Mr. Ngodup, Tibetan Settlement Officer, Tsering, and Mr. Chisa Tsela, Office Secretary cum Coordinator, Tibetan Settlement Office, Bomdila. This visit was a part of the agenda decided in the preliminary meeting of Tibet support groups held at Guwahati, Assam on 30th July 2021. So much for this week. See you next time and have a good weekend.